Hello and welcome to another game room tour, except this one is a little different because this is our board game and tabletop space. I know a lot of you guys really liked our video of our attic tour where we play old video games, and I'll leave a link in the description to that video. But I don't think we've really talked about this space. My wife and I have been playing board games for years now. We have had the same D&D group for like 2 years, I think. It's been a long time. But we wanted a space where we could play all these games and house them, because we have a lot, comfortably. So I figured it would be a lot of fun to give you guys a tour of this space and what we've done with it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I've learned a lot over the years of collecting board games and playing them. And I just wanted to share all that with you guys. So let's go on the tour. Here we go. So welcome to the board game / tabletop room. Let me just shut the doors so the cat doesn't follow me. But yeah, let me just give a brief overview of the space. I'm really happy with the way this turned out, especially this table. Stick around to the end. I have a fun story about this table, and it does some cool things. But yeah, I think we used the space quite well, and we have spent hours and hours and hours in here playing D&D and board games, so really happy. If I walk around the table, I'll give you a shot from the other side. There's all our mess of games. There's the door over there. I have some cabinet space and some storage boxes up top, but let's just get into it. So on this wall to start is the classic board game Kallax shelves. This is the 5x5. It's the biggest one they make, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is a lifesaver, because as soon as you start amassing board games, which you will, because it's like a snowball effect, you're going to need space for all that stuff. But I definitely recommend it if you're into board game collecting and need a smart space to store everything. I think my favorite part about these shelves is that when you come this way, it's kind of just a straight line. Nothing really juts out, well, unless you have long board games like that, but it kind of keeps everything tight against the wall, and I really appreciate that. And it limits how much stuff is stacked on top of each other. But I've got a big 5x5 from IKEA, and then we've got these smaller 1x4s on each side, and then over here is a 2x4. Yeah, cannot recommend these shelves enough. Now, I'm not going to go through everything in detail because there is a lot to talk about, but I'll just highlight some of the ones that are my favorites. Up here, I've got some extra Kickstarter items, because whenever you kickstart something, you end up with boxes and boxes and boxes of extras. Up top, these are all games that are too big for these shelves, so they go up here, because they're either too wide or too fat. Like Tannhauser up there is too wide to even fit in here. Meanwhile, these are too long and they stick out. But what's nice about these shelves is you have all this extra space up here. And you can even take these out. Some of these you can remove so that you can have a longer space here. But because I had all this space above, I figured I'll keep these all cubes and utilize the space up here. So we come over here. Crossfire! You get caught! I'm not going to do that. Got some card games. And then even what's nice is these are the 1x4s, and it gives you like a nice little shelf here. So you can put some stuff up here. Like these boxes are way big and they don't fit anywhere else, but they fit nicely right there. And I got some movie related games. Scythe, amazing game. Loop on the Third, awesome game. It's all in French, the rules are rough. You gotta go online to find better rules, but Last Friday's fun. Big Trouble in Little China. Forbidden Stars. They need to bring this game back. I'm so mad that they stopped making it. This game is amazing. Highlander game, because my wife loves Highlander. Got some good stuff over here. Deception is a lot of fun. This is all Star Wars, X-Wing games, like the starter sets. That's the Millennium Falcon. And that's the first row. And then moving down here, we got some other Kickstarters. Rum and Bones. Museum was a lot of fun. Oh, Samurai Spirit. That is a good one. More Star Wars games. I kind of grouped them together, or at least I try to. Star Wars Rebellion. Awesome game. And then these are all part of the same series. This actually, on Her Majesty's Service, is the first game I ever kickstarted. Like, I don't even know how many years ago. Really fun puzzle game. And then this was a Kickstarter. This is a Seventh Continent with the replacement cards. Huge box. Look at all those cards. Look at all those cards. I don't even know. This game is a ton of fun. Moving on, some more horror games. I know I've mentioned I'm a horror fan, and I love all of these, especially Castle Ravenloft. amazing. Fury of Dracula, awesome. All of this stuff. This is the others with all of the sins. The other two are in here. And then moving past that, we've got, of course, Talisman. You have to have Talisman, and then my wife had to have Kingdom Hearts Talisman when she found out that existed. But Talisman is the game that it's like the Monopoly of tabletop games. I know Monopoly is a tabletop game, but this is the game that you love to hate to play. Like, I love playing this, but I hate playing it. And then Adventurers, these are a lot of fun. Nothing Personal, one of the best games ever. Time Stories, again, great, great game. BioShock Infinite, okay game, I got it because I love BioShock. Here we got some martial arts games up there. Street Masters, Dragon Tides, Rising Sun, awesome. Broom Service, one of the best games ever. Jamaica. Red November. That game is a blast. If you're not familiar with it, you play as gnomes on an experimental submarine. That is, everything's going wrong, and you just have to survive and keep the submarine from sinking and lighting on fire. It is a blast. Got some Pandemics there. Forbidden Sky, Mysterium. Formula D, awesome racing game. And here's my wife's stuff. All of the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Middle-earth Quest, War of the Ring. Got some Goonies games over here, Dead of Winter, Zombicide. And moving down, I've still got a few shelves to do. But down here, got some fun ones. Agility. That's a game where you basically adopt dogs and train them to run agility courses. A lot of fun. Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters, awesome game. King of Tokyo, Seasons. These are some of my wife's favorites as well. Seasons, Takanoko, Small World, Evolution. Let's see, Harry Potter, Lobotomy, Save Dr. Lucky and Kill Dr. Lucky. Love those games. The Evil Dead 2 board game, which I didn't expect to even exist. Kudos to Jasco for picking up where the previous developer failed and making the game and sending it out to everybody that backed the original Kickstarter free of charge. I think I only had to pay shipping, but good on them for doing that. That's really awesome. Got the Ghostbusters game down there. Over here, got Descent, Arcadia Quest. These are all the same like genre, like fantasy, but fun. Got all these games here. Down here we got two Godzilla games. Two Godzilla games. It's awesome. Battlelore, one of my favorite war games that, again, I wish they would bring back because it is so great. Got some card games over here. The Dark Souls game with all the Kickstarter stuff. I don't even want to talk about Kickstarter and all the extras that you get. Gloomhaven, this giant monstrosity that I still haven't gotten a chance to play. And then Founders of Gloomhaven right there. Over here we got Brewcrafters, some worker placement titles. Kanban, awesome game. Got some good ones over here too. Garden Dice is a ton of fun. So is World's Fair. A lot of this stuff is a blast. Cash and Guns, classic. The Fast and the Furious game. Yeah, so that's kind of a brief overview of all of these games. And as you can see, I still have some spaces that I can fill. I've really been slowing down on board games because I have so many. There's only a couple Kickstarters that I'm still waiting on. As we come over here, we've got my favorites. So, long story short, the reason that all of this exists is because of my wife. For Christmas one year, she got me Mansions of Madness. This game right here. My favorite game of all time. She got this for me for Christmas, and then I found this rabbit hole of designer board games. And then, well, here we are. And I feel like that's something that happens with most people with board games is they don't realize that this world exists, and they're introduced to it, whether it be by Mansions of Madness or Settlers of Catan or any of these games here, and then they see this world. There is such a variety of games out there that there's really something for everybody. And I think that's one of the things I like the most about board games and collecting board games is I have games here that are all different like themes. I have games where you brew beer, games where you fight Dracula, games where you build cars in a factory, everything. But continuing over here, these are all of my Arkham Horror, Call of Cthulhu, Mansions of Madness titles. This is definitely my favorite thing that I ever discovered. I love Cthulhu, and I love the setting of all of these games. So, as you can see, I have pretty much all of them. But it all started with this guy here, Mansions of Madness. And I keep these over here because I like seeing them all together, because they're all part of the same universe. And then up here, I've got this monstrosity of Kingdom Death Monster, with the models are in here. I haven't built all of them, because you build them as you play the campaign, but the quality is beyond anything in this room. Like, I cannot speak enough about how high quality the production value is of this game. It's not for everybody. It's kind of violent and has really dark imagery, but really awesome. Check it out if you're into that sort of thing. And then moving over here, I've got this cabinet, which I'll go into real quick. This holds most of my smaller games, some accessories, things that you'll definitely need if you're going to be into board game collecting. But a lot of expansions in this space, thanks to Kickstarter. Gotta love it. You kickstart something and you end up with 80 boxes for the same game. And then up here are all these little single boxes. Got a sheet there, some expansions, some card games. But yeah, I need to go through this cabinet again because there's a lot of stuff that I can break down into smaller boxes. I just haven't had the time. But it's definitely useful to have it right here because I can kind of close it up. Whereas all the games on the shelves kind of look nice out here like this. But and then moving over here, I have my books for tabletop games. So up top, I've got my Call of Cthulhu stuff. Got all my D&D stuff. This is my wife's dice bag. It's an angel from Evangelion with a sheriff's badge. I'm not the DM of the group, but I like to pop in and give our DM a break and run random campaigns. And one of the themes I did was a Western, which was a lot of fun. And then down here we got Age of Rebellion books. And one of my favorites, Fiasco. If you don't know what Fiasco is, look it up. It is awesome. It's a perfect size for role-playing books. And I have, well, you can see I have a lot of space that I can put more in, but it fits perfectly between here and the door. So, and then over here, I've got this little lamp if we want to set the mood a little bit nicer. In this is my wife's tablet, because when we play D&D, she has a character sheet on there. This is my case for my iPad because I put my character sheet on there too. And then in this secret compartment are some candles, some dice, like a lighter or two. Because I like to have a candle going. This is one of my favorites, the Mountain Lodge. But I like to have a candle going to like set the atmosphere. And that kind of relates to the sound bar. This is our old sound bar from our TV. And I mounted it on the wall with the subwoofer. Because one of my favorite things to do when playing, well, board games or tabletop games is having like ambient music. And this is perfect for that. It stays up on the wall, it's Bluetooth, you just connect to it and you can stream whatever. Our DM uses it all the time. Definitely a good investment. Even if you have an old one, like I did, just throw it up on the wall. Don't get rid of it. Then over here, for Christmas one year, our friends got me this pencil sharpener. And I had all these Ticonderogas. But I didn't have anywhere to sharpen it. I think I had the little tiny sharpeners, and they got this for me for Christmas, and I mounted it on the wall. It's like a legit pencil sharpener. It's like one you'd see in grade school. But it's great. It's mounted to the wall. No issues with anybody ever having a pencil or a sharpener available. And then down here, this is a book that my wife is kind of keeping log of our campaigns. This one down here is my dice box. I found this at some craft store, and I put a little divider in it so that I could keep my die. And it's perfect. I love it. And then down here, these are some things from our campaign. And here are some miniatures of our characters from D&D. Oh, I should mention the artwork on the walls. Years ago, I pre-ordered an Arkham Horror, like a big fat book, almost like this size, like a D&D book, of all of the history of the games, because these are all in the same universe. And with the pre-order, it came with these art pieces that I put up on the wall, and I think they fit the room perfectly. That one I really, really love. I wish it was bigger, though. Look at that one. And then this is Courtney's favorite up here. It's really, really cool. And then while I'm over here, I should mention that my wife picked out these curtains, because I said I wanted like deep red curtains for the walls to make it feel more cozy. And I love when it's raining. I think I've mentioned that in videos before. So I got this window film that makes it look like it's always raining outside. And this stuff is great. Let's move on to the centerpiece, the table. And the reason why this has a fun story is because my wife and I actually built it. We were going to get a board game table because you can see this is kind of a thing we do. We were using a 100-year-old table we got out of a barn for the longest time, and it was a great table, but it was showing its age. So we were in the market to find a board game table that fit all our needs, the price range, the size, the dimensions. And after looking and looking, we just decided to do it ourselves. We have the skill set. My father taught me a lot growing up, how to like construct things and the proper way to go about it. And I drew up plans over the course of a couple weeks. We got all the materials and we knocked it out in like a weekend. Of course, the finish took time to dry and things like that. But yeah, this thing it's amazing. I'm so happy we built this, and it works so perfectly, and I can't wait to show you all of the bells and whistles that we put into it. And then these chairs, I actually got on Amazon. All of them. They were super cheap. They were perfect for this room. I love the color. It's not real leather, of course, but they were perfect for what they would be used for. They're not used every single day. They're used a lot, but I didn't need to spend a ton of money, and now we have a comfortable place for everybody to sit. So one of the first things that I wanted to do when designing the table, besides the dimensions and everything, was one thing that makes me super anxious is people having drinks on the table, because I'd hate for something to happen, somebody have an accident, it spill all over the game, and some of these games they don't make anymore, and I'd feel bad if somebody felt bad that they had an accident. So I just wanted to eliminate that possibility. So I decided to put cup holders in. So every chair has their own cup holder. On the ends, they're right here like that, and these metal like cups are removable, so they slide away just like that. And then for the long sides, I actually put them in the middle. That way you don't get up out of your chair and you hit a cup holder. So I put them right here like that. There's one and there's two. So really, really great, and have come in handy so much, and I love them. Another thing that I wanted to do with this table was supply power. We use, as I said before, my wife and I use tablets for D&D, but also everybody has their phone, you know, they're bringing things up, they're looking things up. So I wanted a way that people could charge their devices without needing to run a cable like across the floor or against the window. So if we come around here, I have a power cable that's run against the wall, and then it's run under here. And it actually goes up and then under the table right in the middle. I hope that shows up on camera, but I've got a power strip. So it's right in the middle of everybody, and you can easily plug in your charger and run the cable up to even the cup holders and put your phone in there. It's come in handy already a bunch of times, especially because I use my iPad to play D&D, and we play for hours. So this table has one more trick up its sleeve, and I'm really excited to show you. So let me just set up the camera because I need both my hands. You guys ready for this? Watch this. Uh-huh. Look at that. This is my favorite thing about the table. When we were shopping for board game tables and looking around, this was the number one thing I didn't want to miss, is having the sunken in board, because it just makes playing games feel so much better. The way that we designed the table was this whole centerpiece, you can lift it out. So if something were to happen to the fabric, we could take the whole center out, leaving the frame of the table, and reupholster it. So it's really, really nice to have that as an option, but I just love the way this turned out. You could see I had underneath the table, this is all the Mansions of Madness stuff, but you can throw dice against the wall and don't have to worry about things falling out. And we wanted to make sure that the rail wasn't too big, but big enough to be comfortable. And I think we settled on 6 inches to just rest your arms on. I was going to do a wider rail, but decided against it because we really will be only using this surface to play board games. Whenever we play D&D, we put the table toppers on, and we utilize the entire table. But I'm just really happy with the way this turned out, and it's really nice to have the ability that if something were to happen, that we could pop this out, replace it, and it's not a big deal. It's not like we're out a ton of money. We just get another roll of fabric and we reupholster it. I still can't believe that my wife and I built it. Maybe we'll do a video in the future kind of outlining how we went about it. I still have all the plans written out and all the materials that we got, but it was way easier than you would think. And like I said, I still cannot believe that my wife and I built this. It's really, really wonderful. And it's already got so much use. It's been so worth it. So these two boards that make up the top, when we cut these to size, it actually, we ended up with this little piece. And I recommended, well, why don't we finish this one too? And then we can use it on one of the ends. So I'll show you that real quick. So I just put on the short piece, and you can see it's really wonderful because even if, say, we're doing a D&D campaign and somebody wanted to use a map, they can have, the DM can have their screen up here with all their stuff, and we can all be down here. Another great part about this is when we play games like Mansions of Madness, I can keep all of the boards and all the pieces and cards up here so that they're within, like, you can reach for them easier, and then all the game is down here. But it would have been silly to just get rid of this extra board, and I figured this would be a great use for it. I may build like a piece of wood to block it, like that, but yeah, using every piece of the wood for the table. So there you have it, a tour of our board game room, tabletop room. We spend a lot of time in here. We've been playing D&D nonstop almost, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So if you have any questions about the table or anything in the room, feel free to ask. Now that I think about it, I would love to do a video on the process of building this table, because I think it's something that seems really daunting for a lot of people, but with some simple tools and just keeping to some plans, it's really not that hard. So I think I'm going to do a video like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. Also, I've learned so much over the years, collecting board games, playing them, doing all the research, that I've learned a lot of like tips and tricks, things to avoid, things to look for, things that have been lifesavers playing games and collecting them. So I may do a video with some like top tips and tricks for collecting video games and keeping the collection organized. So look for that in the future. But otherwise, yeah, I hope you had a fun time looking at all our games. I'd love to hear from you guys what you think. If you saw your favorite game in my collection, let me know. With that being said, I hope you had fun, and we will see you real soon.